So I don't know about you, but inevitably, whenever I say I've made decisions and this is what I'm doing, I'm always wrong on something. Something always changes and I have to go back and okay, well, actually, so that's what this video is about today. I have already made some changes to our curriculum and we are on week 1. Now, in my defense, I did make them before the school year started, but they are different. Some of the things are different than what I put in my curriculum picks videos. So let's talk about it. So if you are new around here, hi, my name is Brittany. I am a homeschool mom to 4 kids from aging from high school down to kindergarten. We've been homeschooling for 9 years now, and I love to talk all things homeschool and homemaking. So I was watching a video earlier this week, and I follow this lady, Journey in the Home is her YouTube channel. I will link her in the description box, her channel in the description box. And she put a video out about changes she'd already made to her curriculum and how she was going to go ahead and talk about it. So that way, when she got into other updates, people were not confused as to what she was doing. I'm like, oh, that's probably a good idea. I should probably do the same thing since I've made some changes. Now, I have not made huge, massive overhaul changes. I don't believe it's a good idea to huge, massive overhaul your curriculum in general. I've mentioned it a couple of times. I do want to do a full video about curriculum hopping and why it's not a really good idea to be doing. But there were some changes that I did make, and so I wanted to talk about them before I started posting homeschool updates. We're already at the mid week 2 of our homeschool. So, we're only a few weeks away from doing an update. So I didn't want to get too far into the school year before talking about it. Okay, to start with, let's talk about something that I had already included, but I didn't talk about. And that is kind of our enrichment stuff. So I am a classical homeschooler, but I do tend to pull in a lot of Charlotte Mason. I do believe that classical and Charlotte Mason can go kind of hand in hand. Charlotte Mason was a classical homeschooler, so they can. But I don't have any kind of rhythm for this. I don't have any plan for this. My enrichment is the place that I get to have fun. We just pull what I feel like reading that day and what we feel like doing. I have zero plans for any of this. It is going to literally be in a basket. We have enrichment time and we're just going to go with it. We are going to do some hymns, some hymn studies. This is my favorite hymn studies book that I have used. It is very simple, very beautiful. It has, one side has the hymn, the other side has a little snippet about the hymn, about the composer, when it was written, just a little bit of information about that. I don't have any plans. I don't know how many hymns we're going to do this year, probably 5 or 6. But again, this is just to add some life and breathe some life and beauty into our homeschool. Then after that, I have the Usborne Greek myths. Last year, I had wow, grammar. I had bought the Delaires, if that's how you pronounce that, book of Greek myths. This book's a little intense for me, especially for young children. I do believe in kind of sheltering to an extent smaller kids until they're like middle school age from some of the mythology. I like doing this level. I like introducing it as stories of different cultures and what they believed. We are classical, and so we do a lot of, it comes up, and we do Latin, and then we're going to learn Greek in a couple of years. It's going to come up. I do like to do the Greek myths and the Norse myths just because it's fun. But this is a little intense. I do believe I'm going to pull this out for my 6th grader or my 4th grader when he gets into 6th grade, like middle school age, have him go through it. But for now, this is sufficient. I'm also going to include this, the children's Shakespeare. Again, we're just going to pick it up. We'll read one of these stories, and when we finish one of these stories, the next day we may move on to a different book. I plan on doing the same thing with this one. This is children's stories from Dickens. So these are going to be introductions because I do have a lot of Dickens on my shelf. I've never actually read them myself. It's on my list. But I do plan on having them read them when they get into high school. So I love this idea of layering as they have this exposure. And so exposure to the stories within like this kind of book and some Shakespeare so that they are familiarized with it. So when they get to the harder reads, it's a little bit easier. And then also we're going to go through Aesop's Fables just as it feels, as we feel led to pull that one, we'll pull that one. So then some changes for my elementary school kids. My second grader, I mentioned how she is doing a print transition handwriting. I did go ahead and pick her up this little cursive handwriting book. I've taught kids to write. I've taught 2 other kids at this point to write in cursive. So I feel very confident teaching cursive. So this is just an evaporating. I have the pen somewhere. It comes with an evaporating ink pen, and it's grooved. And so you teach them to trace it, and then they write it on the other side. So she is going to work all the way through her transition workbook. And she has already started this. We started introducing the letters within this book. This is just from Amazon. I will have it linked in the description box. It was $15. It came with 2 books. For my 4th grader, I've talked about curriculum hopping a lot. And I was curriculum hopping when I introduced what I was doing for him for spelling. And I decided that I should not be doing that. I should just trust the process and stick with what we were doing, because I do believe, especially with spelling, that it just clicks at some point. If you're consistent with it, it just clicks at some point. I've seen it with my 16-year-old, and I know for my 4th grader, it will be the same way. So what we're doing is we went back to spelling workout. Spelling workout, I really like it. I think it's a good setup. I do think if you treat it like a book that you can hand to your kid and walk away, it's not going to work unless you have a really good natural speller. If you have a kid that struggles with spelling, you have to accept you're going to have to work it with them. So spelling workout has, in the beginning of their lesson, these little tips in the front. And so you have to go through the little tips. If each lesson, each time you sit down, you read the tip, you talk about it. When they make a mistake, you explain it to them again, and you just continue to reinforce it and have it be part of your conversations that you're having as you're correcting them. It does click eventually. So we're not going to hop. We're back to spelling workout, and we're going to stay there. So that's my plan. So the next thing is actually something I forgot to mention was our habit training. We have done this book several times. I've had this for many, many, many years, and it just hasn't clicked for some reason. I've struggled to implement it, but I think it's a me problem and not a book problem. I think I'm finally at this point where I'm ready to really plug it in. I think my problem is trying to find the time of day that I want to do it, because I just forget about it. And so I think making it a priority is going to be something I'm really focusing on, because I do believe in habit training. I think that's part of why we homeschool, is for character training, right? We are starting from the beginning as if we have never started before, because it's been, I think, 4 years since I pulled it out. So we're starting at the beginning, and it is recommended to start with obedience, attention, and truthfulness as your first 3 habits. So that's our first half of the year will be those 3 habits. And then I think I'm thinking about diligence was one I was thinking about. Cleanliness was another one I was thinking, and either self-discipline or self-control, because those are areas that I think would cause the most improvement within their relationships and just our home in general. I think it would cause the greatest impact. So that's kind of where I want to focus. So the last one is for my high schooler. So for my 11th grader, I had said that we were going to do Shorman math, and we were going to move him back for math and for science. He was going to do Algebra 1 with a half credit of geometry this year, and Algebra 2 with a half credit of geometry next year. And he was going to do biology again, even though he did it in 9th grade. And so the reason why I was doing that was because he had mentioned potentially wanting to go to college, and I freaked out a little bit. And I was thinking, man, we have not been preparing you for college. We've been preparing you for like trade school, which was, he was full on. He was going into welding, and that was where he was headed. And so that was what I was preparing him for. And so it just threw me for a loop. And so I was pulling out all the stops. We're going to do all this really hard stuff. And then I just felt it in my spirit. Like the Holy Spirit was like, whoa, girl, you need to calm down. I really started praying about it. I'm like, I think if I really push him this hard, he is going to crumble, because it's not that he can't do this. It's just that this is my really amazingly talented kid who is so creative, and he is very artistic, and he is so well spoken, and he's a good writer, and he's so smart, but math is not his strong subject. And I really do believe if I pushed him with Shorman, it would just, everything, he would just be really, really, really frustrated. So I made the decision after talking to my husband about it. We hadn't purchased anything at that point. I want to be very clear. None of these changes required me to go out and purchase more things. So beyond what I was already planning on purchasing. We hadn't purchased Shorman yet. I decided to put him into Denison Algebra 2. So if you are not familiar with Denison, Denison is a math for non-mathy kids. And my 11th grader is not a mathy kid. And part of that's my fault because, again, of curriculum hopping when he was younger. And I say that I speak from experience on all of these things because I was that homeschooler. We hopped around a lot. It was gaps from using teaching textbooks for many, many years, which is also something I'd love to talk about. And gaps from moving from one curriculum to another curriculum and not sticking with the same thing, not drilling math facts when I should have been drilling math facts with him. And all of these simple mistakes that I've seen a lot of other homeschoolers make, and I made myself. So he has a lot of gaps within his math. So Denison is the math that is for those kids who either have gaps or just really, really struggle with math. I'm really excited for him for this year. He is done a couple of lessons and he so far seems to like it. I will keep you posted on how he actually feels about it. They do have one more level coming out after Algebra 2. Right now, currently, Algebra 2 is the highest level that they have. They have one more coming out, which is supposed to be that final bridge into if they were going to go into college to really solidify that really like higher level math. I don't know exactly what it is. It's not pre-calculus. It's kind of a blend of trigonometry, pre-calculus, and things like that. Math is not my strong suit, clearly. And so that's what he's doing. And then finally for science. So we were going to do biology. I did buy a biology book, but I spent like $10 on it. And I'm still going to keep it because it's still a really good biology book. But these were, I already had some of this stuff, most of this stuff. So for him, instead of doing biology, because once again, I'm not going to push him. He's not going into a STEM career. Even if he goes to college, he's not going into a STEM career. He's potentially thinking ministry now. He's potentially thinking of going into missions. Like he went on a missions trip and he's considering that now. He's still considering trade school. Like a STEM career is not even in the cards. I know where the potential opportunities for him, that's not where his radar is at. So what I am doing is I am blending two chemistry curriculum options that I would say both are not gonna be sufficient, but I think together that they will work. And so we have friendly chemistry, and then we're also doing chemistry 101. So the Chemistry 101 series is fully DVD based. This is all you get when you order it. It has a PDF download that is on the final disc, and that has kind of an ebook that you can print off that has all of the reading that you can do. It has labs. It has lab what do you call them? The pages? I don't know. I also didn't like science. So it has all of the lab sheets. It has, I believe it has worksheets, and I think it has quizzes and things like that as well. We're going to do everything in this one. And then I don't think that that's sufficient. So we also got friendly chemistry. We did not get the full set. We are not doing the labs with this one. We were doing all of the reading. We were doing all the worksheets, all of the quizzes, and all of the tests from this one. So this one is for the DVDs and the reading and the labs. This one is for the reading and the worksheets and the quizzes and tests. And so that's how I'm going to combine these two together. Again, I think even if you combine them together, this is not going to be sufficient if your child is going into a STEM career. But if you have a kid who is like not heading into a STEM career, this could be a good option. I'll let you know. I don't know yet. Haven't done it. So, and with all that being said, those are all the changes that I'm making. I think that I'm set though. We've been doing it for a week and a half, and I feel pretty good about what we're doing. So if you have any questions about any of this curriculum I've shown you, or the curriculum I've shown you before, or anything else that I've talked about, or anything that you would like to see in future videos, please leave it in the comments. I would love to hear from you and to chat with you. If you are interested in homeschooling or homemaking or anything of that sort, I'd love it if you stick around and subscribe. And with all that being said, I hope you have a fantastic week, and I'll see you in the next one.